now with the Talk Box, and today is World Autism Awareness Day. So on the show tonight, we wanted to devote some time for a very special and important topic, particularly here in Portland. I'd like to welcome Ricardo Correa, who founded Mundo Pato, an online community resource for parents with children of autism. And I want to make sure I get it straight. You started this because of your nephew, not your son. Your nephew got the diagnosis of having autism from a doctor, and this got you thinking, how can you help?
Yeah, exactly. We're actually technologists, so what we do is develop technology. And having a nephew with autism made us deal directly with the problem in a very personal way. So we got to see the beauty of the child with autism, because they're so different, because they're isolated from a lot of what makes us all cynics. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, you get to see the issues and the concerns. And so what we decided to do was to use technology to bridge that gap, increase communication, and allow the community to come together in a better format. So we developed technologies to do that, and hopefully that will help alleviate the problem for some.
Is this, for people who maybe have never heard of this before, but who maybe their lives are touched in some way by autism, is this like Facebook but then some? I mean, how would you describe this to someone who's never seen it before or had any experience with it? Does it start as a website but then offer other things? I mean, how does it?
Yeah, I think to most of us it would look like a normal website, except that it has a lot of technology behind it.
Yeah.
So that,
under the hood, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. So it gives you tools to be able to interact with members of the community, whether they're parents, therapists. And you have to remember that with autism, it really affects everybody, because it's one thing when, say, for instance, a person has an illness that only affects them.
Right.
But with autism, because the child warrants so much attention from the siblings, the parents, the general community, empathy, and so forth, it's what our platform does is it brings all those people together. So we create courses for the parents. We have tools that allow the centers to communicate more effectively with the parents and measure the progress that the child is making.
This seems like it could be applicable for so many communities and groups out there. I mean, it's a great idea. I could see that branching out for other communities who are struggling for a way to connect in a more meaningful way than a Facebook group or something like that. How common is autism in our community? I know we have a higher prevalence of it, don't we?
Well, actually, in fact, up until about last week we did, because what happened was that before last week, the general rule was that there was 1 in 87 children would have a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder. Mm-hmm. But the Center for Disease Control just came out with a new statistic, which is 1 in 50, and in Portland it's 1 in 57. So technically, with the new average, we're now a little less bad than the rest of the country, but we're still terrible.
It's
horrible.
Still, there's so many cases out there, more than we realized a decade ago or 2 decades ago.
Exactly.
Let me just ask you finally, for people who are interested in learning more, how do they get in touch with you, and in particular with Mundo Pato?
Well, they would go to www.mundo, M-U-N-D-O, Pato, P-A-T-O.com. And on there they can sign up and register. If you have a child with autism, or you have, if you're a grandparent, if you're a practitioner, we bring you all together. So we would love to hear from them.
Well, thank you so much. I think it's an amazing thing you've done, and thanks for coming down and talking about it.
Stephanie, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.